Hi, welcome to the second part of Chapter 4's lecture. We're going to talk about a little bit of the whole chapters on networking and cloud computing. We're going to look a little bit more today on the web, Internet of Things, cloud computing piece. Compared to last week, we did a lot of the networking. So let's look at how the web works. Well, basically, it's kind of made up of two different parts. Sometimes we use these terms interchangeably between the Internet and the World Wide Web. But technically, the Internet is kind of the infrastructure. It's the hardware that supports computer networking, routers, fiber optics, your networking TCP/IP protocols. And then the web is actually client-server software that kind of requests services from the Internet. So it uses the HTTP protocol to access the web. So we kind of use the term interchangeably, but there are differences. Now, we're going to go through a bunch of terms, but basically, we've all seen a hyperlink. You press the button, it goes to a graphic, goes to a document. We've all used web browsers to actually search or to use to view web pages. And then website is just a collection of pages. Now, they're made up of a lot of different types. Most of the text stuff today is made up of both basically three different pieces. You got HTML that kind of ties together the extensible markup language, the XML, and the cascading style sheets. They kind of come together a little bit where XML words about the words, and we'll worry about files, and then they'll worry about how to the view, what's the style of the sheet. So they kind of come all together to create your web page. Now, there's different languages out there. There's JavaScript, Java. There are client-side software, C, C++, Perl, Python, ASP.NET. There are plenty of languages out there to put together language together. But there are also companies out there that offer services, either tools or services to help you create a website. Now, the key to these services is actually the XML. It's used within the language that actually it's what's going to transfer the data between the web service application. Amazon Web Services is a larger company that does a lot of different features both on website and software applications. Now, some popular tools for creating it. You got Dreamweaver, RapidWeaver. Could be used if you look at web content and internet, interconnect services. Microsoft's .NET is a program that a lot of people use. Some of you probably heard the Web 2.0 term, and basically, when the web was first created, it was just going to be a one-way position of transfer of data. The company would post a website, and you'd only see it. You wouldn't be able to reply to it. You wouldn't be able to answer and comment on it. Well, now with social media and stuff, we're getting a lot of content that we can actually interact with companies, both by making comments on products, seeing their product. So it's a kind of a two-way conversation, hence Web 2.0. So some of the types of applications and stuff that we all have used: news, training, job search information, search engines, instant messaging, blogging, news, status feeds, conferencing, go-to-meetings, just tons of different options. Blogs, media, posting, music, gaming, media, video, online shopping. Who hasn't done that? Travel. So pretty much every aspect of our life right now could be done pretty much on the Internet. But right now we've been talking about the Internet open to everybody. But there are a couple of different versions of interactions between companies that maybe I don't want the whole world to know. And one is intranet, which means it's internal to a particular company. And then an extranet says, okay, it's my company, but I'm going to take who are my suppliers, who are my key customers, so I can kind of create smaller networks that restrict access to based on who customers are. Now, sometimes it's done with a VPN, a virtual private network. It's just a secure connection between 2 points. Very good for salesmen on the road that are transferring information back and forth. They do it via a mechanism called tunneling. And basically, I'm just transferring the packets that we talked about last week over the internet, but over a secure point-to-point network. So they just kind of tunnel it through the whole IP protocol without going through a bunch of routing, point-to-point internet. Now, the next big thing, we've all heard of Internet of Things. Basically, things end up being just physical things embedded with computers and sensors, processors and software, and then they're networked together. And a sensor can be pressure, temperature, humidity, pH level, light. Could be a camera. Could be something like you could go be on the store and say, hey, I need to see what's in my refrigerator, and then communicate over the internet to the refrigerator, and it would tell you, this is what's going on. This is what I have. This is what's in there. Yep, looks like you got eggs. You don't have enough milk. Blah, blah, blah. But it's using the internet to start now connecting the things we use today. Your car, refrigerators, TVs. So the kind of things, you got sensors that gather the data. You got the data that passes over the network. Somebody's going to process, gather that information in the cloud. That data is put together, analyzed, and then it can be sent back out to us as notifications. Hey, somebody broke into my house. I need eggs, need milk. So that's what this Internet of Things is. Now I get my physical items that we deal with day to day interacting with each other. What types of things could be used for? You name it. Right now, it's all the way from asset monitoring to traffic monitoring and everything in between. So get used to it. It's probably going to be the biggest thing on the internet since the internet was created. Now, there's 4 different types of application. You got connect and monitor, control and react, predict and adapt, and then transfer and explore. So just depends on how much data am I gathering and how do I want somebody to respond to that data that's after it's been analyzed. So just some types of applications that you may see coming up. Well, okay, to get that to work, I need cloud computing. I need an environment that is software and storage is accessed through a web browser. I don't need to have my own little database. I can store it someplace else. Now, some people get really worried about cloud computing and security and stuff, but I guess I've been around long enough, and back when computers were starting, it was always a centralized database, and you still had to log in to a remote location to get information. So it doesn't bother me as much. There are definitely some advantages to businesses. I don't have to design, maintain, install, keep a staff on hand to manage a data center. So I can quickly reduce, costs to put new products out. So tons of options. But now there's 2 different ways of cloud computing. There's a public and a private. Now, public is pretty much what we're used to. You go into your bank and stuff like that. But it basically means I'm allowing multiple people to come in at the same time. Now, of course, data security is a big thing. So if I'm using my banking over line and the bank's got a, remote access, I got to make sure that my login and password is only used by me and not by everybody else that's on the internet. So data security is a big issue. Now, there are 3 major types of services that cloud computing offer. They can offer the infrastructure. So they can say, hey, I'll provide all the routers and switches and servers and storage devices that you need. Or I can say, hey, how about if I give you let you develop the software? Or, hey, how about if I give you the hardware platform that you can develop your own software? So you get multiple different ways of utilizing cloud computing. So you got 3 different methods here: customer relation management, environments. Which of these is playing the most? I don't know. It's hard to gauge. Right now, the latest one I think is the programming environment. So that's probably where it's going to be the biggest move in the future. Private cloud. You've seen a lot of, you say, well, gee, I don't want everybody to have access to my information, but what happens if I want my own environment? Because I really don't want to manage my hardware. Maybe I'm spending $1 million a day or a month on computer expenses. It may be a good thing for me to have my own cloud and create it, but it's only things that I can access. And then whether I have it on my premise or I pay somebody else to do it. There's several companies out there that'll offer either one. They can come in and design your own private cloud, or they can sell you the service. And then, of course, if I've got public and private, somebody's got to say, hey, there's got to be a hybrid. And basically, it's a matter of combining the two. So it's just a usual thing. Now, you're going to hear something about autonomic computing. Well, basically what that means is I want to be able to, as my business changes and flows, and I want to make sure I've got control. Even though I'm using a cloud environment, I still want to make sure that I can handle the complexity of my business without the end user being notified. So, of course, you got some basic, can it configure itself? Can it heal itself? Optimize? Protect itself? Just things that it can try to do as many things automatically as possible to make sure the end user doesn't see that things are going. Now, of course, that's expensive. It means you're putting in redundancy of equipment, a little smarter software, but the end user gets a better deal. So hopefully that gives you a quick snapshot of everything that's going on. As far as the internet, gives you a high-level view, cloud computing, and a little bit of Internet of Things. So have fun. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.